How do you clean a spill? Now, you'd think that cotton rags are a good way to pick up a day's worth of cutting oil. But look at what you have left after being on your hands and knees for 5 minutes of wiping, or brooming a big heavy pile of clay, a pile of drippy, oil-soaked rags or clay. There's still oil left on the floor. And then what do you do with all the leftover oily rags or clay? Just one handful tossed on the oil, and just 15 seconds later, the oil is gone and the floor is dry. Not just spread around, but totally encapsulated, using far less material, effort, and time. Now, let's look at another typical cleanup problem, old oil stains. First, spread a little solvent, in this case mineral spirits, and work it into the stained area. What we're doing is reliquefying the oil. Now, spread just enough ChemOil Away over the spot and lightly brush it over the area. The complete stain is lifted right out of the concrete. You can see the difference in this time-lapse video. Here's a common problem in any lube pit: grease droppings and smears. First, sprinkle enough ChemOil Away to cover the grease. Next, use a gentle lifting motion with your broom to roll the chunks of grease into ChemOil Away. Once this is done, you can pick up or remove the solids and finish the rest of the area. Just scrub ChemOil Away briskly over the smear, and it's completely clean with no residue. ChemOil Away can be used for picking up any spilled liquid or semi-liquid material. Hydraulic fluid, for example. Just lightly cover the spill area and gently brush it over to encapsulate the liquid. Then, use some of the remaining dry ChemOil Away to brush the area clean, and you're done. With antifreeze, it's the same process. Just lightly cover the spill and gently brush over to encapsulate the liquid. Then use some of the remaining dry ChemOil Away to brush into the area, and once again, you're done. Just to demonstrate how ChemOil Away works, let's do a side-by-side comparison with a popular clay product on fresh paint. The clay doesn't really absorb the paint, it only provides a surface for the paint to cling. That's why the mess just keeps spreading around. All you're really doing is painting the floor with the clay and your broom as your brush. ChemOil Away is actually encapsulating all the liquid paint, and all that's left is the original pigment stain. Spread a compatible solvent and work it in with your broom. Add a little more ChemOil Away, and the floor is as good as new. Remember the clay? Well, let's give it another chance using the solvent. Wow, what a mess! As you've seen in these actual situations, you use a lot less ChemOil Away than any of the competitors' product, and here's why. ChemOil Away actually encapsulates the liquid, and you can sift out the solid lumps and reuse the remaining ChemOil Away again on spills of compatible material. And it won't redeposit the material on your hands. Just try that with rags, clay, or any other product. Since you use less of ChemOil Away, there's less to dispose. ChemOil Away also meets current release test standards, so disposal problems are reduced. ChemOil Away is simply one of the safest products on the market, with the widest range of uses: oils, transmission fluid, hydraulic fluid, antifreeze, grease, even old stains. Now let's go back into the plant to the CNC machine area where leaking coolant spray can be a major problem. As before, spread just enough ChemOil Away to cover the liquid and brush it away. Now use a barrier boom filled with ChemOil Away to contain the problem, and you have a safer work area. In the future, it will be even easier to clean the same area. ChemOil Away barrier booms or powder can even be used to dike spills, inside or outdoors. ChemOil Away will contain spills of any liquid material, minimizing environmental contamination. Even in windy conditions, ChemOil Away's anti-dusting agent allows more ChemOil Away to stay on the ground than this prominent industrial absorbent material. Another common use for ChemOil Away is as a masking agent for concrete or asphalt when you have a problem with dripping fluid. As you can see, here we're dripping transmission fluid on ChemOil Away over concrete. Sweep the ChemOil Away off the area, no stains. It's also ideal for masking adjacent areas when you're spraying top coating on asphalt. To see how effective ChemOil Away is, let's compare ChemOil Away with another popular industrial sorbent in picking up oil. First, we spread equal amounts on similar spills and brush it in. Now, to see just how effective ChemOil Away is versus the other product, let's pour water onto the clean spots. If there is any residual oil, the water will run away from the area, just like it is doing from the competitor's so-called clean spot. With ChemOil Away, the spot is totally and completely cleaned with no oily residue. Now, let's look at our brooms. The broom used with ChemOil Away is clean and dry. However, the broom used with the competitor's product is a mess. With ChemOil Away, you can justify using a good broom like we have here, and you won't have to throw it away after a couple of cleanups. A better broom will last even longer and do a significantly better job. Now let's go on to cleaning up a hazardous material, such as leaking battery acid. First, you need to neutralize the acid as recommended by the chemical manufacturer or plant safety procedures. Then, as before, spread enough ChemOil Away to cover the liquid, and this time there is quite a big area to clean. As you pick up the neutralized battery acid with the ChemOil Away, continue to add more material so all the liquid is encapsulated. As you work down the area, there's a clean, dry area to walk. You can imagine how difficult this project would have been with other cleaners, and we were done in under 3 minutes. Fire suppression is yet another dramatic use for ChemOil Away. Just look how quickly this alcohol fire was snuffed out with ChemOil Away. And since it actually encapsulates the liquid and suppresses vapors, there is no residue left to reignite. Just look at what happens when we use another popular industrial material. Not only was it difficult to suppress the fire, but when we test for any residue, just another hazard in the making. ChemOil Away soaks up anything from fresh spills to old stains. It's faster and more effective than any other garage cleaner. It lets you soak up more with less, so it's cost effective. It works on any liquid on almost any surface, and it eliminates the need for repeated cleanups. The only real way to really clean up spills. Fast, simple, and effective.